Welcome back to Movie Deputy Reviews, where we are talking about an in-depth interrogation of a movie that probably should have been timed a little bit closer to Halloween than to Christmas. This one takes just kind of the spook level up a little bit, not because of anything like jump scares or anything like that, but just because of the sheer gore of the movie. Now, if you have not already been able to tell, I'm giving whatever movie we're talking about today, which I'm going to tell you here in a second, but it's getting not just a guilty rating, but a very guilty rating. It's still just guilty, but yeah, very guilty. This movie is borderline. You might want to make sure and cover any little one's ears, and I will try to say it's a little bit softer. Don't worry, not going to curse or anything, but it's probably closer to gore porn than what it actually is, because this is it just takes what you expect, and it, depending on your perspective, it's either stepping it up a level or it's going way down in the gutter. It all depends on your perspective on this. Like I said, I'm giving this movie a very guilty rating just because of that. Now, this movie is set in 1838. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because I'm sure you've heard the stories about Dracula. I'm sure you know who Dracula is, or at least the lore of Dracula. And this story is not about Dracula. It is about Nosferatu. And a lot of people know the name, but he is often compared very much to Dracula, only picture a more evil form of Dracula. Like, we get to see like silly Dracula things in like the Hotel Transylvania movies, and we get to see a lighter side of Dracula like around Halloween. You don't see that with Nosferatu. Nosferatu is a very dark, very ominous, very foreboding character that it just will give you the creeps. I mean, ugh. One of those things that kind of sends shivers down your spine, and you don't want it to, but it just does anyway. Well, what we see here is Nosferatu makes a connection with a young girl, and a very, forgive the term, unholy type connection with her. And as she ages, so does this connection get stronger. And he tries to reach out and connect to her, and so they kind of do, but they don't. And the one person that's connected, that becomes her husband, ends up doing some business with Nosferatu, and it's just kind of the whole thing. And the Nosferatu tries to keep her from getting back to her because he wants her. So it's kind of a twisted love story. And trust me, it's not about love at all. Nothing of this is about love at all. And so their friends get involved, and it's just a very gory, messy, I'm trying to think of a better word to put with that, or a better description. To dumb it down, this one will give you the heebie-jeebies. Now, not because of the excellence of the storytelling. Mind you, cinematically, and you know me, I don't focus on the Hollywood gobbledygook a whole lot. It's beautiful, the camera angles and the way that this is shot, and the scenes that are everything in it. Even in the gory scenes, there is beauty in it. So I have to at least appreciate it for that. But story-wise, it's very weak. And like I said, it ends up playing out more like, instead of being the rated R that it is, it should almost have an X instead of the R, just because it pushes it beyond what you would expect for even the most extreme version of an R-rated movie. I would have a very hard time recommending anybody to see this one. There were numerous people when I saw this that just got up and left. And honestly, I'm proud that I haven't, but there's ones like this that it's so tempting to want to just get up and go, no. Just no. So sometimes, like I've heard, I'm trying to remember who says it, but no is a complete sentence. So sometimes just no is enough. But this one, you want to connect with the character, and you want to connect with the story, and you want to try to understand it. You want this story to have a happy ending. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But the way that this story comes full circle and it comes all the way around, and it finally takes you to the end where you think the story is over, and what it does to the viewer, to the movie watcher, is just disturbing. Now, I will say, for the people that want to see this and want to check it out, this one's going to be a very difficult one to watch at home. There's so many of the scenes that are so dark that even in the darkness of the theater, it was hard to make out what was on screen because it was filmed in such low light. That there's numerous parts of this movie that you're almost squinting to try to look at the screen to try to figure out what is going on, because even in the blackness of the theater, it was so hard to make out what was happening on the screen at numerous times during this movie. So trying to watch this at home, you would rely a lot more on the dialogue that's going on, more so than what you can see for, I'd probably say, 20% of the movie, just because of that. And I'm guessing you're probably guessing where I'm at score-wise on this one. Where do you think I'm at on this? Some of you probably got that pretty right. It's like, I can't actually hear you, but I'm hoping that you're getting familiar enough with the deputy scale that you might have gotten a pretty close guess to where I'm at on this one. But Nosferatu is definitely going to be on our 10 worst films of 2024, because it is only receiving a whopping 2.5 out of 10 on the deputy scale, and honestly, that's generous. There was just so much that was happening, and yet so much that was not, all at the same time in the story. And things like that make it so difficult to sit there and just, and like I said, you kind of get caught up into this, and it tries to play on other ideas and other stories that have been told about Dracula and about the whole vampire lore and things like that, and it just doesn't play out. It doesn't mean that it's not beautifully done. It just means that it's weak. And sometimes once in a great while, the beauty of a film is enough to carry it through the story at least a little bit. And sometimes the story is strong enough to carry it through even the mess of the rest of it. But unfortunately, this one just falls short on all forms of that, in just about every way, shape, and form. So if you're curious, if you haven't looked up the deputy scale in a long time, anything in the 2s is what's called painful and confusing. This one was most assuredly painful. Even if you are into that type of, forgive the perverse nature of the thing, but demented, if you are into that type of thing, even this would be off-putting. I can't imagine anybody that would find pleasure in the fine details of a movie such as this. So, one of the many reasons I do this is to try to help you when it comes to films like this. And if you vehemently disagree with me, I would love to know why. I would love for you to reach out and connect and just kind of let me know what you thought. So, as always, I welcome that. And we will be back tomorrow with something that will be a lot higher rated than what this one is today. So, be sure to come back tomorrow. You know which buttons to push to always get the latest and greatest Movie Deputy content. But as always, I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.